boy, I just feel literally up to here. Does anybody else feel up to here with incredible information and inspiration that we got today? But I think maybe the first thing we should do is take a little stretch break. So if it's comfortable for you, stand up, put your, yeah, stop taking notes, and let's, yeah. Like I said, it feels like I'm up to here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a breath out. And then like a wave, breath can come in again, just gently, and maybe we could roll our shoulders. We've been talking a lot today about stress. Laughter yoga, the biggest benefit of one of the biggest benefits of laughter is it reduces our stress, right? We hold so much stress up here, so let's just and shake it out. And we're going to do this again in a few minutes with laughter added. So notice how you feel now. You know, I hope you feel better, you know, a little better than a moment ago. But when we add laughter to it, let's see how you feel then. But okay. Have a seat. I just want to make, okay. All right. This is a new, do I need to talk into this mic or I don't? Okay, so this is a new system for me. All right. So we've heard about big changes that we want to see, that we need to see. Yeah? Big issues. A lot of work that we have to do. In order to be able to do that work, we need some joy, some laughter, and some little but meaningful moments in our lives to keep us going. Yeah? Because it may take a while to get there. And meanwhile, what I want to talk to you about and talk with you about and have you participate in are two things that I've discovered that improve our quality of life. Now, there is evidence-based information about the storytelling we're going to do and the laughter yoga we're going to do, but I'm not going to talk to you about them now, and I want you to please not worry about them now and just experience with me. If you want to know more, there's websites which are in your handouts where you can learn more about that. But the idea for this last session was to do something that was a little more fun, a little lighter, and also just something that you can do yourself. So I'm not saying to you that what we're going to do here now is going to prevent Alzheimer's. I'm not going to say even that it's going to change the course of the disease, but that it can improve all our qualities of life as we live with the situations that we're in. So they're both based on creativity. Now, we sometimes think of creativity as something that, you know, you go to a museum or you go to a symphony concert, and that's what we might call creativity or art with creativity with a big C. But we all are creative, every single one of us, and that's the kind of creativity that I'm talking about. It involves a kind of childlike playfulness that I have discovered as a middle-aged person that I really like. And I'm not going to let the kids be the only ones to get to do it. So one of the reasons it's important is because when rational language becomes difficult, symbolic emotional language can connect us. When it becomes hard to have and keep involved in the flow of a normal conversation, the two things we're going to do today, they work. They're fun. But they're not hard either. But we're going to have to think about some things that maybe we don't always think about in our caregiving, in our lives, when we're in relationship, and where Alzheimer's is part of that relationship. And maybe you do, but if you don't, here they are. These are principles on which time slips creative storytelling depends. That's the first thing I'm going to talk about today. And the first one is yes and. Has anybody here heard that expression, yes and? So it comes from improvisation. And so it means that you can say yes and. You can observe what's happening in the moment that you're in with whoever you're with. You can accept whatever is happening in the moment. You can acknowledge it, and you can build on it in a positive way. And it's not always easy to do that. But if we just turn a little switch in our minds, we can say yes and. Another thing we can do is to open ourselves to wonder. We experience wonder when we marvel even when we can't understand. Even when we're in a situation when we feel, I don't understand what's going on, or I don't understand why the other person is acting this way. I'm not sure I'm going to remember this. But we can embrace the moment as if we can connect, okay, and just open ourselves to it. The third principle, or the third core idea, is that we can give proof that we're listening. And I found this is a really interesting thing. Proof that I'm listening, even if I don't understand, again, exactly what my partner is saying. I can show them with my body language, with touch, with facial expression, and with echoing what they are saying, that I'm listening. And the last thing is I can ask beautiful questions. And this is the main one that I'm going to focus on as we talk about this storytelling process called time slips. And so let's go into that in a little more detail. Okay, here's an object that you and I might be sitting at the kitchen table or the dining table, and this object might be on the table. And what if you can't think of the name of this object and you're getting frustrated? What could I do? Well, the idea of a beautiful question is that I could ask you, what should we call it? This comes from a real interchange between Dr. Charlie Farrell and his wife. He was her caregiver, and because he had gotten involved with this time slips project, he thought, you know what, I could say, let's make it up together. What do you want to name it? And we'll use that name. And his wife said, red bottle. And so he said, oh, please pass the red bottle. I mean, you know, who decided that it's called ketchup? Do we have to call it ketchup? We don't. So, you know, it's a little thing, but it can make such a big difference. So that's a simple, everyday example. Time slips is a process that was developed mostly to use in groups, but I've certainly done it with lots of individual people, friends, care partners, and it's making up a story. And I love that slide because it kind of shows how, as children, we all found it kind of easy to jump into that place where we make up a story. But as adults, it might move us out of our comfort zone a little bit, but it can be so liberating. And that's why it's worth trying. So we're going to try using our imagination to make up a story. And this is basically the steps we're going to use. We're going to start with a picture. Dr. Jane was talking to us about how images are so powerful in our brains. Do you remember that from this morning? I think I remember some of what he said. And so we'll start with a picture. Because stories aren't made just of words. Really, the most important parts of stories are the images that they create in our minds or that are in our minds, and then we turn those into a story. We call this time slips, and because of the idea that we can have a story that doesn't have a clear beginning, middle, or end, and it still has a lot of meaning to it and a lot of communication. We can make sounds and movements be part of our story, again, not beyond the words. And it really helps if we learn how to ask beautiful questions about this picture that we're looking at, using all our senses, again, like Dr. Jane talked about. A mental image could be the feel of your head on the pillow. Remember when he said that? I love that. And also, even though we're going to use an image, we could make our story go way beyond it. The image is just kind of the jumping off point. Okay, so that's kind of some of the steps we're going to use. This is the most important thing. There are no wrong answers in this kind of storytelling. Any kind of answer is welcome. Even if you and I are telling the story together and we say things that seem to not make sense together, we're going to put it all in, because the most important thing is that everyone gets to express themselves and keeps talking. And let's have fun. So here's one image. This is of something that a lot of us associate with fun. And there's different kind of questions we could ask about it. So I want to show you, let's take a little minute to practice asking factual questions about this picture. For example, I could ask, a fact question I can think of on this picture is, how many elephants are in this picture? Okay, so I'm asking you, how many elephants are in this picture, and what are you doing? You're counting, and does somebody have an answer? 8. Somebody guess 9? Right. So there's sort of like, there's a way to tell which of us is right and which of us is wrong, right? There's a right answer. So maybe 10. Right. Okay. Can anybody else think of another factual question? And I'll repeat, rather than having people go up to mics or anything, I'll just repeat what people say, because I can hear you. What's another fact question we could ask about this?
What color are the jackets?
I had that on my list. What color are their jackets? So there's a right answer. But we know we all see things differently, right? But we could get into an argument about the answer to that question. Okay, and another one? Maybe over here? Yeah.
What is the name of the circus?
Yeah, what is the name of the circus? What is the name of the circus? So actually, images, one piece, interject a piece of advice if you're going to, because I hope you will do this at home. You know when they say don't try this at home? I want you to try this at home, but I really recommend you don't use things with writing on them. Especially I find when I work with people as they are more advanced in Alzheimer's, it can be very distracting, and so it's better to not have things with. So this is sort of, I'm using this right now as a negative example in a way. But another question I thought of was like, do you remember the time we went to the circus? How often do you ask that question? And there's, it's not that these are bad questions, but what can be the problem? If the person doesn't remember, it puts the person on the spot. If I don't remember it, it puts me on the spot. It could lead to an argument, right? Even, yeah. So that's the problem with asking that kind of a question. So let's look at the same picture, and let's think about asking some more what we call open-ended questions about it, okay? So let me give you an example. The easiest, most open-ended question that I often use when I do this is, what's going on here? That invites any answer that the other person wants to make. What's going on here? So I'd like you to find someone who's your neighbor at the table And I want you to each get a chance to ask the other person a question and answer the question. And notice, is it a question, when they answer it, the way you know if it's not an open, if they can just answer yes or no, then that wasn't an open-ended question. Okay? So just try it. If they can answer red or white or black, you know, that's not an open-ended question. An open-ended question, so experiment. I just want you to give a try of asking a question that you're interested in about this. I'm going to ring this to make us start this process. Does everybody, it's fine to use a group of 3 too if you're sitting, you know, with 2 other people. And then in a minute I'm going to ring this again, and wherever you are in this process, just please stop talking, okay? Because once we get people started talking, it's great, but I want to get your attention back. So, okay, ask some questions about this. What questions could you ask about this?
Elephants are happy.
Oh, yeah. So if are the elephants happy? So,
Yes.
okay. How are the elephants feeling is even more open. Right. Because I could say yes or no. So that's one thing that's really good to, when you're doing this kind of conversation, is when you ask that, and then they're like, then make it more open. How are the elephants feeling? Rather than happy, you know? So it's interesting to see what happens. So cool. Can you see if you think of any other ones that are not about the facts, but feelings. What do you think is going to happen next? Is a cool open-ended question. Did you come up any questions? You did. What was the question?
I have 2 questions, but do they have any names?
Oh, lovely. Awesome, awesome. Okay, everybody. Wow. Lots of conversations going on. I know that it was, you know, I appreciate everybody's just jumping in. I heard one really cool question over here. Would you share the question that you came up?
Oh, do any of them have names?
Do they have any names? When you think about it, when you read a story, the characters have names, and it can be so fun to see what names we come up with. Right. Anybody over here on this side of the room have a yes? Why are they all so happy? And over here it was like, are they happy or how are they feeling? So something about their feelings is a wonderful kind of open question. One more? Yeah. What time of day is it? Yes. Uh-oh. Yes, okay, so what is this made out of? And so what if I say, I don't know? What do you think it's made out of? Right. And I'll often say, you know, I don't know either. If we don't know, let's just make it up, because we're not trying to get the facts about it. We're trying to use it as a springboard for our imagination and our creativity. So I don't know what it's made out of, but what would you? It's got to be pretty strong. So that's the interesting thing. Like, so why does it have to be pretty strong? Because that's a pretty heavy elephant. Maybe it's a cake and he's just sitting down. So here we have 2 different kind of, so we're going to keep putting all these ideas into the story, okay? And if we're doing this in a formal way, I'm recording this. It can be something that you just do for fun, or it can also be something that you record so that you could, why would we want to record it? So that we have it later to look back on, so that we can read it back to ourselves and savor that we created that, or we could share it with other people who would care and who would appreciate our creativity. So one way to share and do this is this website, timeslips.org, and this is what it looks like when you go on the home page. And as it says, Timeslips opens storytelling to everyone by replacing, this isn't working anymore, by the way, this monitor, by replacing the pressure to remember with the freedom to imagine. There's the part you can click on to start a story. When you click on that, you get this thing here, the Creativity Center. It has all kinds of cool things you could do. But today, we're trying to create a story. And if you see in the bottom left, it says, make up a story. So I'm going to click on that. And now there are over 100 different photographs. And some just kind of phrases. And every single one of them makes me kind of, they're the kind of photographs that makes me ask, what's going on here? You know, there's something a little, not, they're sort of real, but there's something kind of unusual about them that makes us want to tell the story behind it. So I'm today going to pick this one. I like this one. And there's a picture of this in your handout. It's at the very back of all those handouts of yours are two images, and this is the first one. So how could we tell a story about this photo? I want to give you a minute, and if you want to turn to your handout, there's on the back of the picture of these two animals, there's even it shows you what the website will look like. And if you want to even, there's a spot there, I'll show you here. You could write this, you have this in your handout too. There's a place where it says your name, you could put your name. There's also a place where you could make up a title for this. So I invite you, if you want to just write down a title. And if you're here with someone else, you know, and you want to confer a little bit with them about what would be a good title for this picture, or what would be the beginning of a story of this? You might just see this picture and wow, right away you just feel like writing a story about it. But, all right. Yes? Okay, such a good question. Thank you. The question was, do you start with using family pictures? The answer is no, we never start with using family pictures. We never start this kind of storytelling with using pictures of famous places, of famous people. Why? Because some of us might recognize the people in those pictures or the things in those pictures, and some of us might not. And so to encourage us to not worry about any of that, it works really well to use. And so sometimes, like I was just doing this with somebody yesterday who's just meeting me for the first time, and we were looking at a picture that we're going to see in a minute, and she wasn't sure whether she knew that person or not, my partner in this. And so I just said, I don't know her, I don't think we know her, but let's just make up a story about her. What kind of person does she seem to be? Yeah. So that's, but however, what I will say is that I often find that people share personal memories. It brings out memories, but it takes the pressure off their having to be memories. Does that make sense? I think that's a really, really important thing about why this is so fun and why it works so well. So it's sort of, when looking at the family photo album is not being fun and enjoyable, this is a different kind of photo-based kind of thing to try. Okay? All right. So I want you to see know that when you go over on the website, if you can't think of ways to start the story, there's questions over here. But was there anybody who wrote down a title or anything? Someone? Yeah? Would you mind? What's your title?
My title's First Love and Crossing Our First Road Together.
Wow, first love. We're crossing our first road together. What a wonderful beginning of a story. I want to hear how that story is going to develop. Somebody else? Yes. Which way to the fish bar? Oh my gosh. Isn't that beautiful? And I want to really, I think another thing about this kind of thing is to slow down and really enjoy the little thing like that, which is so amazing. Which way to the fish bar? It's very poetic. And I find doing this with people at all stages of memory loss almost, including at pretty advanced memory loss, that people, even who no longer are able to say kind of a full sentence, that they say these kind of amazing poetic things that you can savor so much, and you can just something comes out that you didn't realize was there, and it's just beautiful. So thank you for that. That's incredible. Okay. Here are something. So how do you turn this into a whole story? Well, here are an example of a story that a group of people with memory loss created with Angela, who was, helping them do it. It's summertime in Nova Scotia. Roy Rogers and his wife are in the water, so they named them, right? Enjoying the weather, which is warm to them. They are up north where all the ice is. The ice is melting, and you can see snow and gravel. Roy is part Indian and has a very nice wife. They met in the Arctic, where it is dark in the winter, light in the summer. They're holding hands. They are getting married. They're getting ready to have babies. Standing up. They will drop their babies or lie down. So, and there's an example. I mean, you can't see it in the on the page, but one person said they will drop their babies, and another person said they'll lie down to have their babies. Now, in our normal course of life, we might say, well, it has to be one or the other. We can't have both in the same story because it's one or the other. This is, what was that principle I said at the beginning? Yes, and. Okay. So we put them both in. And I just want to, so it goes on, but here's another one that another group wrote, and I just want to point out towards the beginning. So the penguins are traveling to Antarctica to take a walk. The penguins like to walk there because it's cold. They are taking a boat there because there are no penguins allowed on airplanes. They are on the Titanic. The Titanic starts to sink and they swim away, but they are sad about all the friends they left behind. They survived and found a little island in the sun called Beats Me Up. It's another example of just put it in. It may not sound like it, but isn't it marvelous? And they got married, and they kind of, they live happily ever after. If you look down at the bottom, they have children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, the end. So, that's a happy ending. But my question to you is, did anybody here think to themselves, because I did when I read this, they're not on the Titanic. So that's my judgmental, critical mind coming in, right? But in doing this, I'm going to let go of that. I'm going to say yes, and. I'm going to show my proof of listening, right, by including and repeating and putting down something that, to me, I don't see it that way. one of the earlier presenters was talking about, oh yeah, Dr. Jane again. I must have been paying special attention during his presentation. I missed the beginning, but about one of the things with his MIT therapy was about putting yourself in the shoes of the person that you're caring for. And so this is one way that you can really show them that you're doing that. And not only show them, but enjoy it. You know, like give yourself permission to actually enjoy it and say this is a good thing, that we don't see things the same way. Okay, so another thing I want to point out about this website is, so once you've written a story, you can type it right in. If you want to go on the website, you can type it right in. There's also something, and I'm sorry for the, but over here it says download worksheet. Do you see that? So I want you to know that if you go on the website and you find a picture you like and you find these questions and you don't want to do it on the website, you can click on that and print out a page that'll have the picture and it'll have the questions for you and room to write. It's free to sign up, very easy to sign up to have an account on this website. If you want to, you can publish your incredible work that you create so that other people can read it, or you can keep it private. So you can use the website kind of just for yourself, or you can keep it, you can send it out to the world, or the other thing I want to point out to you, oops, I pressed the wrong button, is, see this thing up at the top, it says collaborate, there's a place to click. What that does is, now, so think about it, say you wrote this story, some story like this, with your care partner right here in the Bay Area or wherever you live. Is there someone in your family that you would like to share it with, who you think would like it? Yeah, anybody can think of someone maybe who's far away, or even, you know. So you can click on that and send them it will automatically pop up something that gives you a way to send them an email saying, hey, we just wrote this great story. Why don't you read it and let us know what you think? Or even, why don't you add something to it? Anybody play that game when you were a kid where one person starts a story and another person, and you kind of keep sending it back and forth in a way? So that is the high-tech version of that. So that's really fun too. So let's try it with another picture. I also wanted to point out that in school, a lot of us learned these journalism questions. Who, what, when, where. Why is not a great question. Why can get us stuck, but how is a really great question. So here's another picture. This is in your handout too. And I love this picture. I've used this with a lot of people, and everybody seems to really respond to it. So if I just say, who is this? That might put you on the spot, but if I say, who shall we say this is? Or what name shall we give to this person? Could somebody give us an answer? Female guitar player. Did I hear you right? Female guitar player. She's a female guitar player. She's a female guitar player, and does anybody want to give her a name? Wanda and Jasmine. Her name is, so she's a female guitar player named Wanda Jasmine. So what's going on in the picture? I'm just going to look for, somebody raise your hand over here. Yes. It's autumn. And that kind of involves when it is too. So it's autumn. What makes you say it's autumn? There's leaves. Colorful leaves. Now we can start getting into those sensory things. Somebody tell us about the color of the leaves. Yellow, orange, brown, and red. How do the leaves feel, do you think, if you could feel those leaves? Crunchy. So we get texture, touch in there. There's another color I really like that I noticed in this picture. There's a blue. She's wearing blue. She's a blue lady. I'll throw that in. So what do we have here? We have a female guitar player named Wanda Jasmine. She's singing the blues. It's fall, it's autumn. There's colorful leaves on the ground. They're yellow, orange, red, and they go crunch, crunch, crunch.
So what about the fingering on the guitar?
Yeah, what about the fingering on the guitar? You're noticing, okay, yeah. So it's really interesting the details that different people notice. She's not playing a guitar, a chord. So how is she playing the guitar? Okay. So she's playing her notes and moving her hand around, and I don't know if everybody could see, but I'm sorry, I don't know your name, sir, but David. So David was not only telling us, but he was showing. He was using his whole self to tell the story. And some people get to, even so when I'm telling it back, I use that. I try to copy and learn from you and do that. And it's fun. Okay, so can anybody else think of another good kind of open-ended question that we could ask about the picture? Why is she alone? Yeah, why questions can be good. Why is she alone? Why doesn't she put on a sweater like her mother told her to? Yeah, so you can see how our story could build with these questions, especially the questions like, why is she alone? I'm going to ask you a question. We said she's strumming. She may not be picking out the notes. She's playing the blues. Is there a particular song she might be singing? A mournful song with her eyes closed. Anybody else have another idea? A love song.
She's got the school blues.
She's playing the school blues. Right. And we might even, I always think when I see this of the song Autumn Leaves, which I mean, I don't know many of the words, but those autumn leaves on my window, those autumn leaves. Does anybody know that song? Of red and gold. And so you don't have to be a singer. You just can burst out into song. So we could create a whole, so that's it. You just created a beautiful story about, what should we call our story? We've got the female guitar player named Wanda Jasmine in the fall with the crunchy, colorful leaves, playing the blues with her blue clothes. Yeah. And she's alone and singing a love song, and a mournful because she's lost her love. So maybe we could call it, Lost Love. Blue Autumn. Blue Autumn. Give yourselves a hand. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. So I just want to show you so that's to make up a whole story. You can also do something simpler. I see someone once a week. She's who I visit, who's in an assisted living memory care unit. And one day I went in recently, and the staff told me, oh, she's not herself. She's just kind of out of it today. But I know that she loves horses. She's always loved horses since she was a little girl. And so I had bought her a book of horse stickers. So I invited her. I thought we would make a collage together of horses. But she picked out the first horse, and she put it on the page. And then I just started asking her questions. And I just want to give you a minute or two to read this. This is how it came out in the end. I hope you can all see it.
Can you read it to us?
I was going to ask someone who can, is there someone who can see it, who's willing to read? One of the things I love about this is it's not clear to me where's the beginning or the middle or the end. It's a poem of some kind, and I don't know what it is. I just know that I absolutely love it. And because, of course, I know the person who wrote this, so it's more precious to me, but I hope it has feeling to you too. Is there anybody who could read part of it that pops out to them as Thoughts a Racehorse Has? Thank you. That was the title we gave it when it was all over. Somebody else, another part. I'm just seeing if I can find someone who hasn't spoken up yet. Okay. Yes, back there in orange. Thank you. It's a star in its own right, but it doesn't believe it. And there was somebody over here. Is there another part you like?
Because it's just a racehorse. A racehorse bored of racing wants to do something else, wants to be a star.
Okay, I'll repeat that. It's just a racehorse, bored of racing. It wants to do something else. It wants to be a star. And then see the thought bubble over the horse's head? In there it says, if I were big and strong, I'd be a plow horse. So now, I think that this really, so this is kind of summarizing this half of my presentation, is that this is the power of art. I think this is about a horse that is not a real horse, but there's so many feelings in here. There's so much wisdom in this poem, I think. If I were big and strong, I'd be a plow horse. We all have dreams of what we'd like to be. The racehorse is bored of racing. Well, maybe the person who created this poem is sometimes bored, wants to do something else, wants to be a star. And for me, time slips, whether you do it as a poem or you do it as a story, whether you use a whole photo or just start with something like this, it turns people into stars. It turns people whose voices don't get heard into writers, as long as we help capture and encourage. And so that's the power of minds working together. So the thing that's in common with this, so we did yes and, we opened ourselves to wonder, we showed proof of listing, and we asked beautiful questions. This is timeslips.org, like I said, is where you can go to find out more about this. You can even find out about an online training if you would like to really understand this deeper, that as a family caregiver, if you are a family caregiver, you can apply for a scholarship to take this training for free. And what you should do is contact Pauline or Blanca, because the Alzheimer's Association can nominate you. So if you want to know more about that, talk to me afterwards. But let's make sure we get to doing some laughter yoga as well. So the thing that I think is in common between these two things is that they're fun and that I can't do them without you. Okay? I'm not going to get up here and laugh all by myself. Because one can laugh by oneself, but the thing about laughter is that it's contagious. And we have 15 minutes, and this is a couple who are called the Kataryas, and they're from India, and in about 20 years ago, they came up with this way to encourage all of us, anybody who wants to laugh for at least 15 minutes a day. Because as I said, I'm not going to go into the research, but 15 minutes a day of laughter really makes a difference, especially in your stress level. Literally in your body, lowering the cortisol, which your body releases when you're stressed. And so, is there anybody here who would like to lower their stress level? Okay, let's do it then. So YOLO, we heard from Jen at the lunch thing. You only live once. So what I'm going to say is, you don't have to do this, but look, you paid for it, so I invite you to try it, because what we're going to do is laugh as exercise. Now, I don't want you to get put off by the term laughter yoga, meaning we're not going to take our shoes off, we're not going to wear spandex or turn ourselves into pretzels. Yoga, the way we think of it in America, is kind of this much of what yoga is. There's so many different kinds. I learned about that kirtan Kriya today. I didn't know about that. I've been doing yoga for a long time. But in 2008, I went to India and I discovered a group of people on the beach who meet every morning and they start their day for half an hour or more doing these laughter exercises together. Dr. Kataria started with 5 people in a park near his house in one city in India. It spread all over India. He figured out this thing that was so much fun, people liked so much, and it made them feel so good. And now it's in over 100 countries, and there's thousands of groups that do it either every day or every week, every other week. And at the very end, I'll show you some information about where there are groups here in the Bay Area. Okay? So, did you know the Dalai Lama knows about laughter yoga? There he is on the lower left, lower right. Yes, so I just said this. Oh, yeah. You can also laugh on the phone. There's Skype laughter groups, but I think in person is the most fun. This is just to show you, that's Kaiser Permanente. So laugh your butt off, they say, that it's good for your health. Dr. Kataria says there's laughter in the medicine. There's no laughter in the medicine, but there's a lot of medicine in the laughter. So, right, we've all heard this idea, laughter's the best medicine. But what if you don't feel like laughing? The situation that everybody in this room is in sometimes is a situation that you don't feel like laughing at all. So what we're going to do is practice laughing for no reason at all, other than that I'm going to invite you to laugh with me. Now, I know there's people in this room who've done it with me before, so they can attest that it can be done. All right, all we're going to do is breathe, move, laugh, and clap. That's basically, and we're going to do different variations of that. So you're not going to need a sense of humor, but I hear some of you laughing already. It helps, but you don't have to have it. But our emotion is going to follow our motion, and let me show you what I mean by that. So I invite, if you feel like it, stand up. It's optional. You do not have to stand up to do laughter yoga. You can sit down anytime. But it is fun to do it. Okay, so right now you can all face me. In a little bit, I'm going to ask you to turn and face the people at your table. But so let's breathe. So let's take a breath in and let it out. We can add a movement to that. We're going to take a breath in and lift our arms up. Now, if it hurts, no new pain at the bottom there. Don't stretch up if that hurts. But if it does, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then sigh it out. Okay? Now let's do that again, but we're going to add a little smile and a little giggle. So it'll look like this. We're going to breathe in, and we're going to smile, and then we're going to giggle as we breathe out. Now that might have felt kind of fake. But you can train your mind and body to laugh, and your body gets the same benefit even when you're just faking it. But now let's see how we can turn one of the best, like I said, laughter is contagious. So what I want you to do is we're going to do exactly what we just did, but I want you to face around your table and wave at someone, you know, who's either across the table from you or near you. So turn so that you can make eye contact with them, okay? And then we're going to do that very same thing, but instead of just smiling to yourself and laughing to yourself, do it with them, okay? And see what happens. So breathe in, hold your breath, smile, and now, and let's clap for that. Now that good. Laughter yoga has a special clap. It has 2 special claps I want to teach you. The first one is just like, yay, that was great. And I'm going to also clap with my hands flat. I call these sandwich hands because when I do that, I stimulate acupressure points around my hand. And it's a rhythm. It'll go like this. Very good. So it has words that go with it. Very good. Very good. And then lift your arms up and go, yay! And thank you for trying that, because our emotion follows our motion. So if we pretend like yay, yay, and we go up, we can kind of trick our body into feel like I feel good. So we kind of usually think we laugh because we're happy, but this is the idea that we can be happy because we laugh. Okay? So let me teach you one other clap, and then we'll do a few exercises. So the next clap goes like this. It's a cha. You know the cha-cha, like cha, 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 cha? Okay. So we're going to add a clap to that, and so which would be cha, 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 cha. But since this is laughter yoga, we're going to make it sound like laughing. It's going to be ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Good. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 2 more times. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Last time. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Good. And take one of those deep breaths in. Hold it for a minute. Smile to yourself and just sigh. And just notice just close your eyes for a second and notice, do you feel a little different? Already. And we've only been doing it for a couple of minutes. And if you feel bad, like that's fine too. And also if you feel, sometimes doing this brings up different emotions, not just, we're not about just like trying to just only have positive emotions. This could bring up other emotions too. But saying yes to that is that's kind of a connection between these two things. Okay, so, I invite you to think about some of the exercises that you do to warm up anytime you do exercise. Like this one, right? Don't we do this a lot? We did that when I first got up. So the thing about yoga is that when you do any kind of yoga, you don't just move your body. You use your breath to connect your body to your mind. So let's breathe in as we lift our shoulders up and out, down. But now, again, let's just see what happens when we add a little laughter to that. So breathe in and laugh down. And now look at somebody else while you're doing that. Breathe in and good, 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 good. And shake out your shoulders. Now, there's all of us do different kinds of stuff for exercise and wellness. Some of my friends do Pilates, where you do a lot of like abdominal, right, work and core work. Well, here's how you add laughter to that. We're going to breathe and we're going to laugh like this. Ho, ho, that same thing. Ha, ha, ha. It's more fun than Pilates. Try it. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 2 more times. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 1 more time. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Good. And let's take a deep breath in like a wave coming in and out. I have another friend who does Tai Chi. And one of the exercises, warm-ups that he learned, and he also is a laughter yoga leader, was an exercise that kind of stimulates the blood, the circulation like this. But he came up with the idea, let's add laughter to that. So every time you touch your arm, you say ha, 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 ha. Let's try the other one. Ha, 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 ha. Good, but one of the things that makes laughter a special kind of breathing that is, and by the way, anytime you need to sit down, sit down. But if you want to keep standing, stand up. Anytime you laugh at your own pace, your diaphragm moves more and at its own pace. And so we'll start again with like a rhythmic ha, 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 ha. But let's start getting a little wackier and at your own pace. Ha. Ha 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 ha. All right, then breathe in. Hold it for a minute and another thing we do to feel good every day is to see other people. You can add laughter to that, of course. So we have some friends who we always laugh when we see them, but here we have you may be at a table with strangers, but I want you to look at them. And laughter yoga comes from India, so in India, we don't have to, you may not have, you may be too far away to shake their hand, but you can look at them with your hands like this and do a little bow to them, but instead of saying hello, give them a laugh. And turn to someone else. Yay! All right, so let's think of some other things that we do to be healthy. What are some other things you do to keep yourself healthy all the time? Sing? Sing. Okay. So sometimes we sing in the shower. Let's imagine we're in the shower. We're singing. La 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 la. And we realize, oh my gosh, what if somebody hears me? Oh no, I'm a terrible singer. And then we just laugh at ourselves. Thank you, thank you. Singing, something to stay healthy. What's another thing you do to stay healthy? Dance. Okay, so that cha-cha-cha, let's do that. Let's dance in your own way and ho, ho, cha-ha-ha. Ho, ho, ha-ha-ha. Ho, ho, ha-ha-ha. Last one, ho, ho, ha-ha-ha. Good, and take a deep breath in and sigh it out. And I just want to point out something. When I do this clapping, and I'm doing it on one side and the other, many of you may know the research that shows that when we do cross our midline anytime with our arms, our two sides of our brain have to work together, and that's good for your brain health. So simple, right? Such a little thing. And instead of getting really serious about it, like, oh God, I have to do this every day, but let's laugh about it. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Good, very good. All right. Let's see. Something else? Oh, I was thinking about like staying hydrated because there was a booth outside. Did anybody pick up a really nice little water bottle from the Aegis Living, I think? So staying hydrated. So we can put all kinds of things in our water or whatever, good healthy drink that we have to make ourselves healthy, right? What are some of the things you put in to be healthy when you drink a healthy drink? I heard wine. Let's put some wine in if you drink, okay? I heard lemon. Let's put some lemon in our drink. Mint. Okay, we'll put mint in. Cucumber. Lovely. The thing that we want to add this time is a little laughter powder. Okay, so this laughter exercises is good for your arms. Put your arms out. Now, notice if you're like this because, again, that's like stress, so let go of there. And we're going to mix up all these good things. And each time we mix, we're going to say ha. So make sure we're adding a little laughter powder. Ha, ha, ha. And now when we drink it, it's going to make us laugh. I'm going to lean back and open my chest up and big laugh. Now this is yoga, so we want to do it on both sides. I always get mixed up, but let's see. Ha, 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 ha. And I'll drink with my other hand and ha, 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 ha. Very good, very good. Yay. So I invite you to stay healthy every day by making sure you include laughter. And if you don't have a reason to laugh, just laugh for no reason. It's a practice. Here are some places in the Bay Area that you can laugh. The first one is I co-lead a group in Oakland because that's where I live. I'll leave this up here. I know it's the end of our day. If come up and write down or ask me questions about any of them. And you could even become a laughter yoga leader yourself if you want to know about that. But mainly I want to say very good yay to all of you for going along with that. And just the last thing I want to say is take a moment. How do you feel? Good. I'm glad to hear that.